Good morning and welcome to the Sunday morning service at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Laguna Beach. My name is Dara Skarecki and I will be serving as the worship associate this morning. Our Zoom and audiovisual text today are Don West Jr. and Pam Floodman. And our music will be not led by Carol Cole, who is not here at this moment. This morning, we are delighted to welcome to the UUFLB Alexandra Berrocal for a service that is titled Change the Way You Think, Bipolar Disorder and Climate Change. Alexandra Berrocal has lived with bipolar disorder since the age of 17 and has worried about the state of the planet since they were very young. Each Sunday, anywhere there is a service held in a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a chalice is lit. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our faith. If you have joined us this morning by Zoom, I invite you to light a chalice within your home, as Alexandra lights the chalice for us here at UUFLB. Our chalice lighting words today are from Ellen Hamilton. They are titled Faith in Summer, since we just celebrated our summer solstice this past Wednesday. In faith, together, we light this small scrap of light, symbol of Grandfather Sun's enormous power, whose energy burns so brightly in these days of deep summer, catapulting the leaves and vines, vegetables, flowers, and fruits to astonishing size, lengths, and heights, spilling over the tops of cages, walls, and trellises, delighting and nourishing all beings. We bask in the warmth and the heat of these days with lightened hearts and quickened senses in gratitude and in faith. Thank you, Alexandra, for lighting our chalice this morning to begin our time of worship. Throughout the service this morning, if you are here with us in the building, I invite you, if you wish, to come forward and light a candle here in the sanctuary in recognition of whatever you are carrying in your heart as you join us for worship today. At UUFLB, we are a welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, whomever you love, no matter your age or gender, your ancestral or ethnic background, and whatever sincere questions that you bring with you to get today. Whatever has brought you here this morning, we welcome you to our community of mutual caring and serious intent to grow as spiritual and ethical beings. Is there anyone who is attending for the first time on Zoom or in the room that would like to introduce themselves? Just talk and we will, yeah, you can just talk. Welcome, Barbara. Many thanks for everyone at UUFLB who works together each week to create opportunities for us to worship together and to be together in community. Our board, our worship committee, and everyone who helps to prepare each week for our Sunday morning worship services and other events such as the Zoom at noon discussion group. We also know that there are always more opportunities to work together and more to be done. So if you are looking for a way to become more involved, please reach out. For those of you who are new to our community, please connect with us after service if you would like to be added to our email mailing list so that you can receive advance notice of each service and other events. Connecting with each other is the way in which we build community as a strong base from which we can go out and make a difference in the world. On the slide that Dawn will put up for us is information about upcoming services here at UUFLB. These upcoming services include July 2nd, Bruce Johnson, July 9th, Bryce Hanson, making music education accessible. And on July 16th, Don West Jr., who will recap what he had learned at General Assembly. Is there any announcements that I have not brought up? No? Okay. The gathering music was Wildest Dreams, a song by the very well-known singer Taylor Swift. When I asked the speaker about which hymns they would would complement their sermon, they gave me a list of hymns, but also a list of hymns if we wanted to break from tradition. As a Taylor Swift fan, I had actually already chosen from her repertoire a song that I felt would fit with the sermon. But when they gave me Wildest Dreams as a suggestion, one of my favorites of hers, I chose that for our gathering music. The song includes Taylor Swift's beautiful lyrics that depict a woman who is declining to leave her love with a lover, but asks for them to imagine them at the happiest times in their lives and their relationship and not at the worst. I believe that they chose this song for exactly that reason. Because someone should not be remembered at their worst, they should be remembered for all of who they are. Our centering thought this morning is from the Gray Hymnal, reading 546, written by Francis C. Anderson, titled To Free the Heart. I invite you, if you wish, to read these words together with me and to unmute yourselves if you have joined us this morning by Zoom. Through dreary, sodden days, the field sponged up with graying skies, and now the sun lies soft earth again, as if the earth had just begun, and blossoms on the vines, designed in spring, come out to sing again. And everywhere
the ripening bushes, falling leaves
apart,
to free the
heart for freshening as through the seasons of our years. Becoming often the nourishment of tears. Our opening hymn this morning is not Mother Earth, Beloved Garden, but it is Building a New Way, which is 10:15 in the teal hymnal. From Carol from a video previously.
Hello again. Let's all sing together, Building a New Way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building
Let us take a moment to remind ourselves why we come together as a community. I invite you to read these words together when and if it feels right for you. If you wish, please unmute your microphone on Zoom so that we can feel the power when we join our voices together. The words of the unison affirmation will be on your screens. Please join me in reading. Love,
Of
spirit,
of this
of this
fellowship,
fellowship
and
and
service is
to
its law.
this is
This
our
is
great
our great covenant.
well
to
together.
dwell
Together in peace, to
Seek
seek the truth in
in
love,
love
Help.
and to
help
help
one
one
another.
another.
We have come to a time in our service to briefly share the important events that have touched our lives in the past week. Our joys, when shared, are magnified. And in sharing our sorrows, we provide the support and care that are vital for all of us in community. During this time of sharing our joys and concerns, we have paused the recording of the service. Our trust and support. And we value this fellowship as a sharing and supporting community where we may find comfort and peace, where our joys are simplified and our burdens may be lightened. We know that maybe some were not shared and they were still thought about. It is much a blessing to be able to give as it is to receive. In this self-governing and self-sustaining community, we recognize that it is a responsibility to do both well. As we approach the time for our offering, we invite you to give what you will for the work of this fellowship that means to each of us, that has meant so much to those who came before us, and that means so much to those who may join us in the future, and to the work that we can do together. Give what you will, for we are a generous people. We will be passing a basket of information on the screen, either electronically on the left or by sending a check to the fellowship. Please. Please join us now in singing to each other words of sincere gratitude. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
I receive to you, I give, together
I invite Alexandra Berrocal to do meditation.
All right, guys. Sorry. Okay, so for our meditation, we will be singing the song Meditation on Breathing. So I'm going to sing and you guys can sing along. And then I'm going to sing something a little bit more difficult. And if you want to sing along with that, you can, or you can just stick around with what you're currently singing. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Hello, UUs of Laguna Beach. Thank you for allowing me into your pulpit. The following sermon are some excerpts from my two books, Dead on the Verge of Blooming and Sanctuary. I hope you find them meaningful. This is totally off the record, but I also would like to note that I was born UU, so just so you know that. I am in a psych ward for bipolar disorder. The most painful experience I had on 2 North was that one day I was feeling so jittery that I asked to be put in restraints. They said they'd have the restraints ready in 5 minutes. I went back to the observation room. I paced the room for a few minutes, trying to calm down. I went back to the office and asked for restraints again. Half a day later, they still claimed that they would have the restraints ready in 5 minutes. I distinctly remember saying, "What do I have to do?" while crawling backwards as an Orthodox Jew in traditional garb and the most fashionable woman I ever saw, I believe she was wearing a pencil skirt, walked by me. I went back to the observation room. I was so pissed off that I took off my jeans, pissed all over them, and put them back on. I was in a psych ward. I begged them to break my human rights. I begged them to lock me in the quiet room if they couldn't restrain me right away. They finally did after many, many rounds of begging. Even when they gave me my restraints, one woman put her hand on my body so gently I was tempted to run. Staying still took all of my strength. I was afraid if I did, they would just let me go and not restrain me at all. They were way too gentle. I am jittery, put me in restraints, said no patient ever, except for me. My whole life felt like a horror movie turned real. Sometime during this experience of feeling jittery and begging for restraints, I realized that humanity has run out of time. I realized that we need to act right now to stop the pillage of our planet. I realized that we need to act decently towards each other as a species right now, and that we need to stop putting these sorts of issues on the back burner. I realized that if we didn't act right away, it would be too late. I also realized that God was really, really devastated at how we were treating the planet and one another, and that if we kept our current course, it might be a happy day for us when God comes back, but it's not going to be a happy day for God. Many people with bipolar are more into God than average. My friend Jasper, for example, found the God that he currently follows during a psychotic episode. My Aunt Robin found Jesus during a manic episode. My family never told me what I had to believe, unlike most people around the world. I was also raised UU. Most people cannot comprehend being raised this way. Most people are told early on what to believe by their families, and most people stay with this course their entire lives. But my family never told me what I had to believe, so that made me different from the beginning. It also made me far more open to faith than many people because I never had any bad experiences with religion. One time, my friend Blake said that when he was young, he thought he was figuring out the will of God for his life, but then he realized it was really his own will. I was initially pissed off upon hearing this because I believe in a God that exists independent of my human ego. I don't believe it's all about me or what I want. I thought my friend's viewpoint was a really self-centered point of view to take, not to mention filled with a lot of arrogance. But then I remembered something. One Unitarian Universalist minister I know of, Reverend Summer, has recently been appearing on podcasts with her son Devin and her mother. This podcast is called The Bayat Beat. When I was listening, Reverend Summer and her family mentioned how some religions think that God is within you. So when I think of what Blake said that way, a lot of it seems a lot less conceited. Another thing to consider is the notion that God might not be perfect. The Bayat Beat brings this up too. They say that in the days of ancient Greece, people knew the gods weren't perfect. The gods cheated on their wives with mortals. The gods got into fights. They could have used some mindfulness meditation themselves, just like when we were doing our, breathing thing, but that sounds like us. And that notion probably needs to make a comeback. I assume God is good. I don't mean in the sense of perfectly good, but in the sense of basically means well. However, I don't believe that God is all powerful. I don't believe that God can and or wants to control the actions of human beings, even when they lead to great devastation. There are some things we have to do ourselves because we have been given the gift of free will. We can make choices, so we need to make the right choices. In 2020, I had a rather interesting conversation with my friend Brianna. I met her at the UU Church of Fullerton. She is around my age and married. She has no kids. She is a witch. She also loves to draw and is very good at it. I have omitted some stuff for brevity and relevance. What do you mean by being a theist? She asked. I mean that I believe in a deity, I replied and smiled. I don't believe in any afterlife necessarily, though I really wish I could, she said. I am of two minds about an afterlife, I replied. Part of me doesn't believe in it, and part of me sort of does. Sounds like we're similarly perplexed about the afterlife, she replied. My experiences with my deity have been really rough, and I can't say for sure it wasn't just psychosis. You have a mean deity? She asked. My deity was rather rough with me when he introduced himself. Yes, I mused. She laughs. Wow, sounds like a jerk. So do you believe in just one deity then? I glance at my napkin. I think he's just in a lot of pain, I said. Well, Brianna replied, if he's watching what's happening in the world and cares, that would make sense. I do believe in one God for now. I think my deity is a bit jealous and prefers to be the only one. So I can't really worship any other gods. I don't even worship him regularly, although he doesn't seem to care about that. Brianna chuckles. He sounds like a cat. A chuckle escapes me. You think? Seriously, Brianna replies, the moodiness and possessiveness mixed with affected carelessness. Now we are both laughing. Jasper and I are walking down the street. I should mention that the Jasper I'm mentioning here is my ex, not my friend that I was talking about earlier. We have just crossed the road at Fairhaven and Tustin Avenue, where all the graveyards are. I live near multiple graveyards, but we are not going to the graveyard today. Instead, we are crossing the street to my favorite walking trail, which I want to show him. We wind up walking all the way to Barnes and Noble's. I am negligent, and therefore Jasper winds up mildly dehydrated on my little death march. He spots a pile of cornflakes on the ground and wants to eat them. I stop him. He says, but if I only ate the top layer, and no, Jasper is not a dog. I say no. He says, you might as well eat your vegetables off the ground. I say, huh? He says, you don't peel your vegetables before you cook them. Which is true, but I pull him along. We are at the street corner. What do you think of Pascal's wager? He asks me. What's that? The notion that if there are no consequences to believing in God, why not believe? But there are always consequences to faith, I say. You have the capacity to ruin your own life and or the lives of others. There is no faith that doesn't have that price. That is still what I think today. In one episode of the Bayot Beat, they were interviewing one of the leaders of the Citizens Climate Lobby. The interviewee said that small actions aren't enough anymore. They help a little, but they alone are not going to stop climate change. He said that we need action on a much larger scale if we have a hope of getting anything done and saving our planet. In other words, we need to stop worrying about driving less and start picketing ExxonMobil, like the Sunrise Movement and other major polluters. We need to be the religion of civil disobedience, occupying buildings and other stuff like that. We need to be willing to get arrested for what we believe. We can't continue business as usual. I most definitely think we are out of time. I think it's now or never. We can't wait until some future someday to create a more sustainable future. We have to do it right now, not tomorrow. If we can't do it right now, we might as well sign the death warrant for ourselves and our children. We will never solve our problems in some hypothetical future. We can only solve them today. White flag, SOS, Mayday.
Thank you. Our closing hymn this morning is 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness. The words, we will have a video of Carol Cole singing it, and please rise if you are comfortable for 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness.
Please now join me in singing Filled with Loving Kindness.
Now is the time for us to extinguish the chalice at UUFLB and within our homes. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of community, love, and justice, taking it out into the world in which we live until we're together again. Today's benediction is written by Tom Shade. The Reverend Tom Shade served the First Unitarian Church in Worcester, Massachusetts from 1999 until he retired in 2013, and is titled A Power at Work in the Universe. My friends, there is a power at work in the universe. It works through human hands, but it was not made by human hands. It is a creative, sustaining, and transforming power, and we can trust that power with our lives and with our ministries. It will sustain us whenever we take a stand on the side of love, whenever we take a stand for peace and justice, whenever we take a risk. Trust in that power. We are together held by that power. Now let us join together in singing our closing song. Let there be peace on earth.